Hello everybody, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi. This is Pooja Singh. Today we are going to discuss that why you should choose anthropology as your optional subject. And we have our esteemed faculty member with us today, Kartic Godavarthy sir, who holds experience of 3 decades of mentoring the civil servant aspirants all over the India. Yes, and he holds a very unique teaching style. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Pooja.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
First of all, I would like to ask the question that please describe anthropology as a subject. Can we say it is a subject to study the human discoveries and evolution?
Well, anthropology normally is thought of as a discipline that looks at human evolution. But human evolution is only one of the many things that anthropologists investigate.
Okay.
In fact, in very simple terms, I would say that it's defined as a science of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at one of the definitions that's given by Encyclopedia Britannica, it says anthropology is a discipline devoted to a discourse on human nature.
Okay.
And human nature itself is very complicated and sophisticated. Essentially, we have 3 dimensions to our nature.
Mm-hmm.
One is biological. We are first and foremost physical organisms, and we share a lot many biological features with other species on this planet. We also have a cultural nature, and of course the social nature. And in the process of explaining the human nature, evolution is one of the many aspects we look at. The reason is because anthropologists are equally interested in the human past, the human present, and the human future. And during the course of this kind of a study, evolution of man, the contemporary societies and cultures across the world, and also the predictions that possibly point towards how we are likely to evolve into the future are the things that we study.
Okay.
So I would say that anthropology is the study of everything human. And in that context, yes, we look at biology, society, as well as culture.
We definitely now have an overview of the subject. So, how would you say, what are the key aspects that one should keep in mind while choosing an optional subject?
Civil services is one of the toughest examinations in the world.
Truly.
And it does entail a lot of hard work. And one should also look at the ways and means through which one can actually reduce the amount of effort that goes into preparation. It is laborious, it's long drawn, and it does involve a lot of commitment of time and energy. So when you are choosing an optional, there are multiple things one can look for, but most importantly, a student has to first understand the nature of the discipline that he or she is planning to choose, go through the syllabus and probably refer to some of the sources that are available to see whether they can relate to the subject. Everyone has their own likes and dislikes.
Truly.
And since you're going to be literally married to this subject for a long time, one should obviously test the waters before taking a plunge. So one is, of course, whether they have an interest in the nature of topics that are lined up as a part of the syllabus. And second, also, will it help them in any other areas of the civil service examination in general? Many of the students leave behind social sciences and life sciences after the schooling. And
Exactly.
the subject that I am choosing as an optional going to give me some kind of a grounding that I require to tackle my general studies as well? Because general studies is a vast area, it's an ocean.
True.
And there's virtually everything under the sky one is expected to study. So the optional subject should be able to complement, the general studies preparation. I would consider that to be one of the most important parameters one should check. And then go on to looking at how the optional has been performing in the recent past. They don't have to necessarily go into the history of civil services 2 or 3 decades ago, but in the recent past.
Yeah.
and at the same time, what has been the scoring rate. And I would also consider mentoring to be an important input one should take into consideration, because this exam does require some kind of a hand-holding, and this mentoring need not necessarily be face-to-face, but whether there are any good resources available, are there any is there any material that has been designed specifically for the purpose of this examination?
True.
And is there anyone who can provide them with some kind of a feedback to check whether they are navigating the process properly or not, are some of the things one should keep in mind. And irrespective of the optional one chooses, there's no shortcut to success in this exam. There's a level playing field in as far as the optionals are concerned. The amount of effort that goes into it is more or less the same. But a lot depends on the candidate, a lot depends on the teacher, a lot depends also on the resources. And at the same time, I think a student should work smart equally and not just work hard. And I would say these are some of the parameters one should consider before choosing the optional. And it should help them in the entire, I would say, the value chain of this exam. Prelims, mains, and even the personality test.
Okay.
So if somebody is making an informed decision, keeping these parameters in mind, I'm sure they will really enjoy the subject they have chosen.
Definitely, sir. Sir, keeping all these parameters in mind, like if somebody is going to choose anthropology, what should be the things he should keep in mind? And one more thing, sir, I would like to say, let's say there's a hypothetical situation where all the optionals are in the witness boxes and they're presenting their optionals as their best.
Okay.
So what would be the statement for anthropology, that how are we going to convince the students who are going to choose anthropology, but just a step back, that why should they make this decision of choosing anthropology as their optional subject?
Well, I already feel I'm in the witness box right now. And obviously, when you ask somebody like me, who all the hair has grown grey and actually white now, standing behind the podium for over 3 decades, mentoring students in anthropology, I would say that irrespective of the academic background,
Okay.
I have mentored and dealt with students who are engineers, doctors, lawyers, I mean, virtually everyone from every conceivable academic background. Okay. And one thing that I have always got as a feedback from them is that anthropology has not only enlightened them from an academic point of view, but they started looking at things very differently after going through this subject. It changes the way you think about the world around you. It changes the way you consume the morning news. It changes the way you interpret information that is, coming from every possible source from you. I mean, it actually changes a person's personality.
Okay.
And it adds a lot of critical thinking, which is, I would say, is missing in many other sciences, which is required for the mundane concepts we study in general studies. We look at the things from a completely different perspective. This is what I normally refer to as the anthropological lens. And a common problem doesn't look and sound so common after you look at it from an anthropological perspective. And I can always say, and students did come back to me and told me that the way they started interpreting even general studies and essays is completely different, when they look at it from an anthropological perspective and anthropological method.
Okay.
So that's number one. And number two, anthropology, as I just told you, helps you throughout the civil services and even much later.
Okay.
Since you emerge as I would say, a better human being on the other side. And the way you look at your people, The way you look at your challenges is also very different. So I would always say that anthropology is a way of life.
Okay.
It's more than a discipline. It is the way we experience our lives.
Okay.
And academically, when we discuss something in the class, we are actually rebranding everything and packaging it into a concept or a theory. But we are talking about ourselves. And I think that's what makes anthropology more than just an academic discipline, a very interesting and an experiential discipline.
All right.
So this is what I could say about my subject.
Definitely. So this vision was definitely very convincing, I would say. So talking about what are the topics we are going to discuss, what exactly do we study in anthropology? Precisely speaking, what is the syllabus of Anthropology Optional?
Okay. For our academic convenience, I will classify the syllabus into 3 broad areas. You know that all the optional subjects have 2 papers, paper 1 and paper 2. And academically, broadly, we can classify paper 1 into socio-cultural anthropology and physical anthropology.
Okay.
And paper 2 is what we call as Indian anthropology.
Okay.
And socio-cultural anthropology is all about discussing the social and cultural nature of man. And physical anthropology looks at the biological aspects of man.
Okay.
But strictly not biological, we call it biocultural approach to understand the human being. And paper 2 is all about anthropology of India. In socio-cultural anthropology, we start off with the basic introductory topic of what is anthropology, what is the special position anthropology has in the family of social sciences, and what unique methods and approaches it has compared to the other sciences. And we go into what is called as a comparative study of social institutions, where we study marriage, family, kinship, religion, economy, and political organization. And we also look at demography, which is all about population studies, religion and magic. And we also look at ecology or ecological anthropology, epidemiology, small topics they are. And also at the same time, we look at the theories of culture and research methodology.
Okay.
That's, I would say, is about almost 50 to 60% of paper 1. And when it comes to physical anthropology, which is the biological and biocultural study, we again start off from the basics.
Okay.
I mean, basic NCERT actually, 7th standard, we start with the cell division.
Okay.
And we look at, the genetic material in the cell, the nucleus, the chromosomes, the DNA. And then we will extrapolate that to the human being, because ultimately anthropology is interested in the human species. So we look at the human genetics, the nature of genetics in other organisms compared to man, and certain genetic diseases and disorders. And most importantly, we also look at primates. Primates are our closest species in the animal kingdom. That includes monkeys, apes, and of course the humans, human evolution, and of course biotechnology. Because today we are surrounded by medical science and technology, which is actually keeping us alive. We just fought COVID thanks to the research and development in vaccines and whatnot. So how can we implement and use this knowledge that we have gathered about our own selves, evolutionarily speaking, to better our biology? So genetic engineering, there's something called recombinant DNA technology, the genome studies which are going on. All these are the areas that we study in physical anthropology.
Okay.
And anthropology, many people don't know this, is also involved in the domain of sports.
Okay.
And in defense. And also, of course, forensics, solving crime.
Yes,
and
sir.
helping the courts of law. So we are also Sherlock Holmes that way.
Definitely thriller movies we watch.
Yes. And these are all the things that are lined up as far as paper 1 is concerned. And paper 2 is all about India. So in paper 1, we also have a little bit of prehistory, where we study archaeological principles like dating and how dating is performed. And we also look at the various stages of prehistory, which is anyway the part of general studies, Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic cultures. And we study the similar aspects vis-a-vis India also, Indus Valley civilization, its rise and fall. And then we look at India's population structure, why it has been growing, what are the implications, what are the causes and the consequences of India's population. And then we go into certain aspects of the traditional Indian society, Varna system, Jati or the caste system, ashramas, karma theory. And these are the foundational principles of Indian culture. And then we move into looking at villages. We call it rural anthropology. We study all aspects of the villages. What is the impact of industrialization, urbanization, and globalization on the villages? And we also look at especially the vulnerable sections of Indian society. That includes the scheduled castes, the scheduled tribes, the OBCs, and the minorities and their problems. And in all these aspects, we look at the programs, the constitutional safeguards. We critically evaluate if these have been working. We will be making some constructive suggestions, and we look at certain case studies and whatnot. And there is also a discussion on regionalism, communalism, secularism, and of course the ethnic movements and ethnic revolts is also something we study in paper 2. So this, I think, in a nutshell, gives you a bird's eye view about what we have lined up for anthropology. I would say that it may look pretty exhaustive when you look at the syllabus, but the reason it looks exhaustive is because every topic and every subtopic has been very clearly mentioned. So virtually, there is no shocker. I mean, you know exactly what you need to study.
Truly.
And rather than going very deep into the areas, we go very wide and cover almost virtually every aspect of the human nature in both paper 1 and paper 2. I hope that answers your question.
Definitely, sir. So, for example, looking at the syllabus, we are hearing terms like cell, organelles, law of segregation is going to be there, prokaryotes, eukaryotes, everything is going to be there. So, are these words going to be like absolute jargon for the students who are not from science background? Is background important, basically in biology, to choose this subject as their optional?
This is a very common question, and I think probably one of the biggest apprehensions many students have. You're not escaping biology by not taking anthropology. In fact, you will have to learn more biology as a part and parcel of your science and technology, biotechnology. And when you look at the prelims question papers, there are many questions again in biology. The level of biology one is expected to learn, I would say, is not really very high. I mean, basic school level. And the syllabus, and we as faculty in anthropology at Vajiram go with the assumption that the students have absolutely no idea about biology and biological concepts. And there is always a first time. You know, everything looks daunting when you don't actually explore it. And let me be very honest in telling you that once you understand the basics of biology in anthropology, you can actually appreciate and add a lot of value to your science and tech and biotechnology questions, both in prelims and mains. And the amount of biology that you have is not very high, and it's school level. And we start off, as I told you, from cell and cell division, the same Lamarck and Darwin we have studied, and the giraffe example that most of us must have forgotten. And don't forget that we share our biological nature with every other species. So many of the principles are very common. And once you understand it, you will thoroughly enjoy it. and you don't need to worry about that at all. And even for that reason, social sciences. Most of the concepts are completely new when you choose a topic, right? And anthropology is a perfect blend of a social science as well as a natural science. In fact, one of the reasons anthropology is very popular optional is because of its scoring. And physical anthropology answers, if they are written well, have the potential to give you 100% marks. You don't expect that from very many optionals.
True.
And the reason why people ace, in anthropology is mainly because of the simplicity with which you are expected to write the answers. And engineers, almost 90% of the students in my class have been engineers. And these are the people who probably dreaded biology in school and left it behind. And they thoroughly enjoy it. So if you can master engineering concepts or architecture, if you can master legal clauses in your law and whatnot, I'm sure biology should not be difficult.
Definitely, sir. It is definitely an interesting subject because talking about that, how we studied it in school, I still remember the geographical isolation theory that we studied in class 10th, or be diversity in living organisms that we studied in class 9th. So it is definitely an interesting subject. We'll be like going back to our school life.
You are. And also, there's virtually a parallel to every science in anthropology.
Okay.
You must have ecology. We have ecological anthropology.
Okay.
For medicine, we have medical anthropology. We have, for sociology, we have social anthropology. We have psychological anthropology. We have legal anthropology.
Okay.
We have geographical concepts that we will also look at. I mean, there's virtually every other social science and a natural science is reflected in anthropological syllabus.
Okay.
I mean, in fact, we have a parallel to every other science. We pick up concepts from those sciences if they exist. We add our own unique perspective to them. And come out with a holistic explanation of human nature. So there's virtually everything in anthropology, and biology and genetics is not the only thing.
Okay.
So that's where, and moreover, in general studies, normally in science and technology, most of the books are written with the assumption that you know the basics of biology. They will teach you genetic engineering without teaching you the basics of genes, the structure of the genes.
True.
But in anthropology, you are going to learn those basics. So right from a cellular level all the way to the organism level, you're going to learn your ABC in life sciences in anthropology.
Okay.
And that's going to enormously help you in tackling any question that may come in both prelims as well as the mains.
Indeed. So we definitely have built anthropology as a hero subject now.
It is indeed.
It is. So what would we say about the performance of anthropology over the past years, keeping in mind the last 2023 result?
Yeah, it's been good. Anthropology has been consistently performing well.
Okay.
I would say that somewhere between 12 to 18% is the range of the number of candidates who clear the exam with anthropology as their optional. And you must have noticed that almost every year from the toppers, you will always invariably have aspirants who have cleared this exam through anthropology.
Definitely.
That's mainly because of the inherent advantages I just told you. And also they are able to add a lot of value to their general studies and general essay by making use of their knowledge and grounding in anthropology. So anthropology is like a sheet anchor. It's not only going to help you score well in the optional, but it's also going to boost up your chances of scoring much better than the other aspirants who do not have anthropology as their optional in general studies as well as general essay.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons why I think the smarter aspirants choose anthropology is because they are able to hit multiple birds with one stone.
Okay. Great, sir. So, talking about this, sir, I know guidance is very important, as we have seen in the past years. Also, students have talked about how guidance is going to play a very important role when we choose optional, right?
Yeah.
So, talking about your unique teaching style in the classroom, sir, please give us a process that you follow in the classroom, that what the students are up to when they are going to enroll for in this optional program?
Well, guidance is important is because every discipline is something new to the aspirants. And the reason guidance is important is because it's not that you can't do it without any kind of a guidance. They may take a long time. There are multiple resources that are available. There was a time when I started teaching anthropology, I think in 1993.
Okay.
There was a dearth of resources. But today there is too much of information available offline and online.
Truly.
And one has to first understand what not to read rather than knowing what to read. There's too much of information, and students also keep referring to what others are saying, what the toppers have said. Every person who topped the exam is very unique.
True.
There's a lot of hard work that must have gone into their preparation, and probably the style with which a particular topper must have studied is uniquely fitting that person's ability. So you can't always try to emulate or copy somebody else's method, but guidance is going to help you navigate through this maze of the optional or the general studies, and that's where we fit in. We are like, I would say, a constable at the crossroad.
Okay.
We will tell you which is the right direction and which is the wrong one. We may not be able to see that you reach your destination by walking along with you, but we will monitor you throughout your journey. And we go with the assumption that you have absolutely no clue about anthropology. Try to explain every concept in a great detail. And that's one of the reasons why we take 5.5 months to complete the syllabus. There are regular tests that are conducted, case studies that will be discussed in the class, PYQs or previous year questions will be discussed in the class. Your tests will be evaluated, you will be monitored, handheld throughout the process, and then subsequently make you exam ready. And this mentoring is not going to end with the batch. It is, in fact, the end of the batch is the beginning of the most serious part of your journey. So you need to be exam ready. And that requires a lot of practice.
Okay.
So we are accessible to the students even long after the batch is over. Some of them may have to take multiple attempts at this exam, and nothing wrong in it. Many of the toppers are not made in their first attempt.
Definitely.
And there is always a scope for an improvement, an incremental improvement in their answer writing and all whenever they take the exam the second or the third time. So we will be holding them throughout this process. And there's virtually no concept that we won't discuss. And the basic test is this, that we don't allow a student to leave the class with any doubts in mind.
Definitely.
And of course, that's what it is. And moreover, the syllabus has some redundancies. The syllabus is also kind of sporadically organized. So we follow our own order of understanding anthropology.
Okay.
There's a way in which anthropology should be studied. And each classroom is going to lay the foundation for the next. And each chapter is going to help a student understand the next chapter. So the methodology has been evolving over many years, and this keeps changing depending on the nature of the questions that are asked. And so there's no one best way to learn. This is a continuously evolving method and methodology that we adopt and embrace.
Okay.
I mean, end of the day, we are kind of more or less giving them a ready-made platter. All they have to do is relish it and enjoy it.
Definitely. So earlier, as we talked about the performance of anthropology, so how can one make sure to score good marks in anthropology optional? Because this is the thing, we have like most number of marks in our own hands, right? So what should be the criteria to write good answers?
Well, one doesn't require an extraordinary proficiency in English in anthropology.
Okay.
Your answer should be very simple. And achieving that simplicity itself is very difficult, you know.
True.
And anthropology is one discipline that many of the students like, is because you can write the answers in simple points. You can use certain illustrations wherever required. And any optional, not just anthropology, one has to have the clarity of thought. They should also understand a concept from multiple perspectives. I call it the range of application. And third is to convert this into an answer. At the end of the day, you are communicating to the examiner that you deserve to get the marks through your answer. So that comes only through practice, answer writing. So that proficiency in answer writing is not your language capability, but your understanding of the subject. And writing in very simple concepts. I only tell my students one thing, that when you are writing an answer, assume that you are actually addressing a school student.
Okay.
You're trying to simplify a sophisticated concept and explaining that concept in a very simple way. Achieving that simplicity is not easy. It takes a lot of effort. There are only 3 mantras: practice, practice, and practice. And you need to monitor yourself. We are here to monitor and navigate you through this whole process. And work hard. There's no shortcut. And end of the day, remember, it's not just understanding the concept, but you should be able to explain it. So you need to work hard, revise regularly, keep updating your topics, is because there are a lot of dynamics in this paper. It's a perfect balance between static and dynamic areas. So that's where we help. I mean, student need not go hunting for information.
True.
And we provide it to the student. They have to be regular in the class, because as I told you some time back, that every topic is laying the foundation for the next, and should be very honest with themselves and honest with the work. And they need to convince themselves, before they try to convince the world.
True.
About their ability to, get through this exam.
Absolutely, sir. Very well said, sir. Sir, how is anthropology going to help with other GS subjects other than its own optional paper? How it's going to help?
As I was just giving you the bird's eye view about the syllabus.
Yes, sir.
In fact, you must have already found that it is overlapping with many areas in GS. Like I told you, in anthropology, we have prehistory, which is common with general studies.
True.
Physical anthropology, a lot of areas we discuss include areas of biotechnology and genetic engineering, and the goings on in the world of medicine and diseases.
Yes, sir.
And when it comes to paper 2, you have issues like communalism, regionalism, secularism, ethnicity and ethnic movements, which is an internal security issue in general studies. We look at all the vulnerable sections like the scheduled castes, the scheduled tribes, OBCs, the denotified communities, the PVTGs, for which the Government of India recently launched a new mission. I mean, and the caste system, and all these areas which are part of your GS, are being studied by us from a very unique anthropological perspective. That's what is the key differentiator between a student who has anthropology as an optional and the one who doesn't.
Okay.
You're going to look at the same concepts, but completely from an anthropological perspective. And all these areas need not be again studied in for GS, because you're already doing it in anthropology.
True.
And even in prelims, there are many questions in biology that we look at in anthropology. I think last year or the year before last, there was a question in primatology, which we study, orangutans and gorillas and chimpanzees, and gibbons. And I mean, there's so many things that we study in anthropology that you'll always find something in general studies and general essay that overlaps with our discipline. And most importantly, as I told you already, one requires a thorough grounding in social sciences for general studies. One requires a critical understanding of human society, especially Indian society. Things like caste, things like, the challenges and the problems the caste system has created. Historically, we look at it. We look at the contemporary issues. We look at the implications from a holistic perspective. And all these, when you are able to present in a general studies paper, you'll definitely score much better than the others.
Okay.
And even the personality test. Since as I told you, your critical thinking changes, the way you perceive information changes. And anthropology is going to, in that way, add a lot of value throughout this examination.
Okay.
From prelims, mains, essay, and even ethics. And all the way to personality test.
Okay.
So there's a lot of overlap.
So like the whole cognition is enhanced when you choose.
Absolutely. As I told you, the way you consume information is not the same.
True.
And you will see the unseen. You will touch the intangible. And that's what is going to be a very, I would say, an enigmatic experience when you sit through anthropology classes.
That's so great, sir. So how is Vajiram and Ravi planning to provide that optimal level of preparation for anthropology optional students?
Number one, we will be having very intensive discussions, as I told you.
Okay.
We have 2.5 hours of classes, which are interactive also. And whether it is online or offline, they're equally interactive. We provide printed study material, which is very exhaustive. And we refer to multiple resources in order to come out with them. They are virtually textbooks. And in addition to that, there are digital handouts that are given to the students exclusively to our students, uploaded in the student portal. Regular tests, continuous feedback. And as I told you, even after the batch is over, we continue to interact with the students. And students are welcome to meet the faculty anytime they want to. It doesn't matter whether you are a current student or an old student, we are always here for you. And the purpose why we know each other is because we would like, both of us are on the same team. So we would like to see you on the good end of this examination.
True.
And we do it together. They are not alone. And at the same time, we have regular class tests, about 13 to 15 tests, comprehensive tests. And all of our students, who join the anthropology classes will also get the test series at no extra cost. So
True.
they also get to sit through the test series, which will be conducted after their prelims. And that is where the discussions of the tests will actually give them newer perspectives and new goings on and current affairs also. So this is what we follow, and ours is a very intensive course.
Definitely. So you don't have to go anywhere else.
Yes. And another thing I would like to add is that
Yes, sir.
we are academically qualified in the discipline. So we appreciate how a particular question may be asked in multiple different ways.
True.
And by being in touch with the discipline, by accessing the journals, accessing, the resources which are normally not available to people in the public domain, we bring in a lot of value to the nature of the discussions we have, and also the quality of answers students are likely to present.
Definitely, sir. So I hope students who are watching this will be mesmerized by this whole episode. Sir, what would be the last message in concluding words for the students who are going to join us in this optional program? What would you say to them?
Well, just come. We will take care of you. And you don't have to be worried, because there's always a first time for everything. And once you sit through and experience the classes, you will understand how wonderful this whole line is. And this is a very experiential discipline. I mean, we talk about ourselves every single day. In fact, Aristotle defined anthropology as a gossip that revolves around man. So we're going to gossip about ourselves every single day, kind of packaging it and polishing it as an academic concept. But remember, congratulations if you have already decided to appear for civil services. You constitute a very minute proportion of the population who even think of, giving an attempt. At the end of the day, the hard work pays. Don't think about, the result. First, put in your effort. Karmanye vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You do your work, do it honestly. You're not alone, as I told you. We are all with you. And when you put in the right effort, put in the right kind of hard work, I'm sure the results will automatically fall into your lap. So, absolutely, there's no shortcut.
Definitely, sir.
And one has to work hard.
Definitely. So once you enroll, you are our responsibility. That is for sure. This was a really amazing session. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And for debunking all the myths. We have clarified all the doubts, I hope, of the students. We will be back with such amazing sessions again and again. Until then, you have to do just one thing. Keep studying. Thank you so much, you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.